Finally, it's here. The BMW iX3. BMW's first car built on the Neue Klasse platform. And to be honest with you, when I first saw this, I thought it looked pretty clean. The design is a lot cleaner than what we're used to seeing from BMW. There are a couple of things I would like to change in the front end. The thin Michael Jackson nose kidneys in the front end, for example, just extend them a little bit. But that's pretty much it. The lower section of the front end still has this, BMW. They need to be weird. They just feel like we need to do something weird in the lower ends of our front end cars on every single vehicle. That happens here as well. I wanted to see the lower end be a little bit cleaner than this, but the side profile looks very, very clean. The rear end looks decent as well. Thankfully, there is no, crazy looking, static looking diffuser. It actually has some radiuses to it. Can you imagine that? A BMW with some radiuses on the rear end diffuser. Then we have the interior. I mean, what can I say? I've already said everything I wanted to say about these type of interiors. Wanted to show you this front view as well. Just show you real quick. Let me show you here before we jump in and have a look at the spec and tech. We're just gonna, do something a little bit different today and jump straight into Photoshop. Small changes I want to do here. It's not going to be a pretty redesign. I just want to show you the idea of what it is I want to do. So take this, for example. Let's just take this area right about there. That looks perfect right there. Copy this, extend it just a little bit, just like that. And let's do the same on this side. Take this area, copy. Hold on. Need to copy the right area there. Stretch it a little bit to the sides like that. And that to me just, boom. There we have it. To me, this looks a lot better. I mean, not just because I redesigned it, it's because the elements in the kidneys now feel like they're proportionally in line with the rest of the kidneys in the front. This looks, yes, I know it's BMW 2002 inspired, but it's still a little bit too thin for me. So just a tiny little thing like that. We're gonna have a look at this in detail. After we have a look at the Car Scoop's article. I'm going to link that down below because there's some pretty cool tech here, specifically when it comes to the charging. I mean, BMW is going to fry some batteries unless they have some proper technology for this 400 kilowatt charging, fast supercharging that we have here. So, link down below. The iX3 is BMW's Neue Klasse future now with a price that rattles rival. So, the 2026 iX 350X ride with a dual motor powertrain promises a 400-mile range and cutting-edge technology. It's the first production EV to ride on the Neue Klasse platform. New styling language. iX350 X-Drive arrives in the US mid next year. 463 horsepower and 400 miles. Those numbers are honestly very refreshing. It's not 8,000 horsepower and 250 miles of range. Instead, they balanced it out a little bit. They just reduced the power just by 463 horsepower is still a lot, even though it's a heavy EV, and increased the range. I think people care more about the range than having 15,000 horsepower in their EVs. And this seems to be a good balance to me, at least. So starting price around 60 grand, which honestly doesn't feel like too much, but they can also reduce the price a lot when they have interiors like this that don't have any sort of features. They just saved a lot of money by hiring software engineers instead of suppliers to actually build physical things and features in the interior. So that's one way of dropping the price. So you have new styling direction that will be eventually applied across the entire lineup, including ICE and EVs. The design of the Neue Klasse provides a very modern interpretation of what BMW has always stood for, said Adrian van Hooydonk, head of BMW Group Design. It's more BMW than ever. That is a very, very, very bold statement. You got vertical kidney grills and twin headlights setup of the new iX3 take cues from classic BMW such as the 2002. I can see that. I can see that with these small little kidneys in the front end. Honestly, I think this is a vehicle that probably is going to grow on me. I just have a feeling that it might actually grow on me, these kidneys. I don't know. I need to see it in person first before I make up my mind. But it's generally it's a step in the right direction. I can tell you that much. So the profile is defined by rectangular contours and crisp character lines that underscore its athletic stance. At the rear, horizontally arranged taillights are divided by a recessed section that echoes the shape of the roof spoiler. Aerodynamic refinements have been reduced the drag coefficient to 0.24, better than the previous iX3's 0.29. You got an optional M Sport package. You want to go with that because that brings you blacked out features. You got the 22-inch wheels. So these are probably the 22s, and these are the ones you want, even though it's probably going to drop the range a little bit. I don't care. It looks good. You got blue brake calipers. Those who choose the M Sport Professional package get an illuminated grille, black trim details, and red calipers. And that's probably the one I would go with. Red calipers, prefer it over blue. Black trim, I like. Illuminated grille, don't really care about that too much, but that's what I get if I get the package. And guess what? It's actually bigger. It's bigger than the predecessor. Who would have thought that a new car coming out in 2026 model year would be bigger and larger than the predecessor? Very unusual to see that. BMW's new panoramic iDrive, a sweeping pillar-to-pillar display integrated along the base of the windshield. It works in tandem with the 17.9-inch 17. Oh boy, we're getting TVs now for sure. I mean, for real, 17.9, might as well strap in a 42-inch TV there. Central screen and optional 3D head-up display. It's a dramatic departure from both the brand's current layout and the more driver-centric dashboard of the past. That's what's happening right now. We have more of a... I feel like companies want to build this lounge setting for the cars. To me, I don't want to sit in a lounge when I'm in a car. I want to be involved in the machinery and fully focused on driving the vehicle that I'm in. That is the feeling I want to have when I step into a vehicle. I don't want to have nothingness in there. I want to have controls, dials, buttons, adjustments that I am in charge of as the driver. I don't want some sort of AI to handle that for me. That's not an exciting driving experience for me. So steering wheel now features the often debated touch-sensitive buttons. They could have just gone with regular buttons here, BMW. Come on. Even Volkswagen is ditching these because people complain too much about them. So they're bringing back real buttons instead of the slider button that we had. I mean, look at this pano dash. It's something new. I give them that. It looks way better than the dual screen square that we have in BMW right now. But still, it's not an exciting interior. It's just a very boring looking interior. So you got 4 high-performance computers called Super Brains, which controls everything about the car. It's the digital nervous system controlling the driving dynamics, automated driving system, infotainment, and basic functions, stuff like that. It will keep improving throughout this life cycle. You got over-the-air updates, of course, just like your cell phone. So the 800-volt architecture is built on all-wheel drive, 0 to 60, 4.7 second top speed, capped at 130 miles per hour or 209 kilometers per hour. Because if you go above that, you're just gonna drain the battery too fast. You got 400 miles of range, not bad. 400 kilowatt DC fast charging. That is insane. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Meaning that they can charge 230 miles in just 10 minutes. Now we're getting to the point where going on a road trip in a 400 kilowatt DC fast charger car, EV, might actually not be such a hassle because you just have to stop for 10 minutes. And then you get 230 more miles. And then after 230 miles, not me personally, I like to just drive for as long as the tank, as long as I have gas in the tank, I just love to drive 500 miles at a time. But if you have a family or something like that, you probably want to stop after 230 miles anyway. So you got a rear drive, single motor version is already in the pipeline. And it's only a matter of time before BMW puts the M badge on this iX3 as well. Here you can see some tech features. Dual engines, dual motors. Beautiful to see. You got around $60,000 for the price point here. And by 2027, BMW expect nearly 40 new or refreshed vehicles to adopt this technology, from sedans to SUVs. And I think that is it. So let's jump in Photoshop here. Let's have a look at this design. Because as I said, I feel like this is a step in the right direction. It's not really a lot that I have to that I feel like maybe I want to change. It looks pretty decent to me, to be honest. I definitely prefer this styling over the current one that we have, and I'm glad to see that the M5 is already, and the 5 Series in general, is already getting a refresh with the Neue Klasse face. However, why does BMW have... They can't help themselves but to add these weird angles and corners in the lower section of their front ends with this black just remove this black plastic that we have. Have you seen the BMW X5M and the plastic that goes up like this into the headlights? Like, why? What is the purpose of it? It just messes up an otherwise pretty clean looking front end. And I think the same thing happens here. We also have these very static boxes or rectangles in the lower section right here. Definitely want to have them be a little more subtle than this. And the thing is, they did make them more subtle in the rear end, but for some reason they said in front end we're not gonna budge on this. Our front end lower end graphics needs to be weird. That is what we're doing, so make them static and boxy. Then we have these lines up here. I really like this line. This starting to feel almost now like BMW actually has a line in the hood that looks like it's been sketched by a pen and paper. It's crazy to think about. Even these lines right here, even though these lines feel a little bit more static and industrial going down here, but I do like the BMW logo right here in the middle. And we also have this very sharp little fender corner or crease up here, creating some sort of, it's like they want to break out of this design language that they had, and they want to go back to this classic BMW styling. And this side view looks pretty decent to me, because look at this. We have a line up here, or a very soft, fluid line that goes right. It's not a sharp shoulder line at all. It's a very soft shoulder line, but I do like it. It looks pretty clean. And we have this line. I think we have a line here in the middle that goes right here. In the right spot. In the concept, it went somewhere up here, I do believe. I don't remember that, if I remember it correctly. And then we have these iX style fenders, creases around the fenders, which I'm not a biggest fan of. I'd rather have this be either more squared off like this, sort of Jeep style, but I don't think that would suit BMW, so I would probably just want to have it be rounded like we usually have, because that is a classic look. But they say that this is a Hofmeister kink, but I mean, this is stretching it. This is not really what I am used to seeing a Hofmeister kink look like. Usually what they look like is something like this. We have the greenhouse going down and then cutting down like this, and then a small little cut like this in the lower section before it goes into the shoulder line like that. This is a Hofmeister kink. This is stretching very, very far out back, but I guess you could call it a Hofmeister kink if you really want to stretch it that far. We have a nice boxy two-box design here. Look at the stateliness in the front end, how vertical this is. We don't even have a bumper in the front. If you smash this into something, it's going to destroy pretty much everything in the front end, because there's nothing protecting the grille or the headlights. They are basically the first thing that's going to hit a wall if you go into one. These look to be the 22-inch wheels right here. And then we have these graphics in the back as well, coming back right here, similar to what we have, these boomerang style graphics that BMW just have. They just have to put it in their vehicles. Now look at the rear end. This is, again, I mean, yes, it's my favorite view is going to be the three-quarter rear view. It's just a fact that this looks better than the front, because it's a lot cleaner. We have these areas right here, similar to what we have actually in the front end. If you look at these lines, it's almost like a squished graphic of that, and then we still have the BMW right there in the middle. Thankfully, BMW did not fall for this, going for a full light bar and connecting them like that. Instead, they separated them with the BMW logo in the middle, even though I do think these stretch out a little bit too far this way. I want to cut them somewhere here. Would be nice to see, and have more body color in this area. That's just a matter of taste, though. In the rear end, it kind of looks like we have a, I wouldn't call this a bumper, but we do have a diffuser in the lower section. You can see that this is not as static as we have in the front end. This actually has, this is beautiful to see on a BMW in 2026. Look at the radiuses here in the corners, and compare this to the boxiness that we have on the BMW M5, for example. So it feels like they're struggling a little bit. As I said, it feels like they want to break out of this industrial product design vibe and create more beautiful designs these days. So this looks pretty good. The exterior design looks pretty decent to me. It's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. And I think this will most likely grow on me, specifically when I see it in person in real life. Now, the interior, I don't know what else to say about the interior that I haven't said already. No physical buttons. You have buttons for, of course, gear selector, e-brake, and stuff like that. Indicator stalks. Thankfully, they're not voice commands or something crazy like that, which is probably going to be in 10 years. And then we have this big panel iDrive up here, which I'm not entirely sure how it's integrated in the interior itself. What is it connected to? Is it a base here? Does this raise up the field of view so it covers, so you have less of a road view, or does it sit where the hood normally meets the windshield? I have so many questions about this system. And you can drag and drop apps here onto this if you want to do that and just customize this as you want. Probably play some TikTok or Angry Birds if people are still playing that. You can probably do that as well. So overall, I mean, it's a pretty decent vibe from BMW, but just extend the kidneys just like this. Just make that, and it would be a pretty good looking BMW if I'm honest.